realized that I really needed to do like impactful projects.
This internally, how do you feel overall the sentiment inside the companies that you work or know?
The mandatory reporting has done is forced the other stakeholders who sort of come in maybe to answer a question on the CSA or the CDP and tap out to really engage in it. And again, it's put it at the level of modern slavery. So when modern slavery came along, because it was mandatory, people, quite senior people, said yes to being on the working group, and they showed up to the meetings and everyone was like, we've got to do this. Oh, the deadline's coming up, whatever. When it was the CDP or the CSA, it was very much seen as like, that's a sustainability team. You guys are the leaders. We'll put things in when we need to.
Bird's eye view on all of these. What could you see as the biggest risk?
I think probably two things. One would be accountability. And I already see that being a bit of like it's also a factor given that Zip's had all this change in people leaving and coming back and hiring and whatnot. But like, I feel like there's this risk at the moment of a lot of people getting on calls and sort of saying things, but everyone's sort of being like, who's leading this or who's the actual accountable decision maker on this? And I think I would imagine maybe at other companies, particularly where they don't have a dedicated sustainability lead or something, that there'd be a lot of chat, and that's quite unproductive chat about like, oh, it's coming, but it's like, what are you doing and who's doing it and what's the plan? I think figuring out who needs to be involved, who's accountable for what, and making sure that their teams are aware of that, so it slots into like, this frustrating thing when July comes around and it's like, oh, no, we can't engage in this because we've got all these other things that we do every year. It's like, okay, well, now there's going to be a change where you're going to have to open up more space because this is something we've got to do. So I think that accountability piece, and then probably just the education.
What do you feel could be a really thing that would unlock maybe sustainability as a more integrated part of companies?
Understanding more the strategic side. So the strategy professionals should understand climate resilience and scenario analysis. And there should be people in the room when a business strategy is being developed who are thinking about the climate transition plan, any factor, and sustainability broadly, and not just in those sexy opportunity ways. That, I think, is probably the biggest gap, because in the environment that I'm in, which would be very different to, I don't know, perhaps if you went over to an oil and gas company, they'd actually probably have, hopefully, people who understand that. But in the tech world, I feel like there's this gap of being like, well, how does that relate to us? What do you mean? And the different elements of like, yes, we're talking about physical workspaces, we're talking about employees, we're talking about customers, we're talking about products.